Have you been in a car crash and aren't sure if it's worth going to court? You're not alone. Many people think that hiring a lawyer for a car crash claim means they'll end up in a courtroom or in trial, but often that's not the case. In fact, many crash claims resolve outside of court. So when is it really necessary to sue? In this video, I'm going to break down everything you need to know about suing after a car crash and explain why you don't need to worry about a trial in most cases, and what to do if it actually comes to that. Hey, I'm attorney Lloyd Bourgeois, your Louisiana injury attorney. I spent years helping injured people just like you fight back when insurance companies try to take advantage of them after a crash. If you've been in a crash and need someone in your corner, give me and my team a call at 504-882-9867. We can talk about the specifics of your case and get you set up on the right path forward. Now let's dive into the three main things you should know about suing after a car crash in Louisiana and how you can navigate the process to get the compensation you need and deserve. When you're in a car wreck, the process of getting compensation typically doesn't require a trip to court. Instead, in the majority of car crash cases, it's resolved through a settlement process where both parties agree on a compensation amount without needing a judge or jury's involvement. Now, the first step of this process is for you, the victim, or your attorney, to start the claims process. Calling, getting the claim number, getting it investigated by the insurance company, but also gathering the relevant evidence to help prove the other party was liable. The goals of this claim process are to identify the at-fault party or parties, because there could be multiple, prove what caused the crash, document the negligence and liability of the other party, determine your financial damages, and put a value on the non-economic injuries you have sustained. One key aspect of this process is proving negligence. In Louisiana, just like in many other states, a car crash case requires you to demonstrate some essential elements to establish the other party was negligent. Here's a quick and dirty breakdown. Did the other party have a duty of care? That is, did the at-fault driver have a responsibility to follow traffic laws and drive safely? Did they breach that duty? So did they drive recklessly, negligently? Did they run a red light, blow a stop sign? Were they speeding? Improper lane changes, turning when they shouldn't have, turning when coast wasn't clear? Causation. Did the actions or lack of actions by the at-fault driver cause the collision? And then finally, we got to look at damages. Damages are, did you, the victim, sustain damages as a result of this crash? Look, in many crashes, folks walk away with no injuries. And while everything may point to liability, if there are no damages, you really don't have a case. So we have to look at damages in every case. Now, once these elements are established, your attorney will kind of work with you to calculate both your economic and non-economic damages. Economic damages are things like medical bills, lost wages. Those are things that you can actually calculate. The non-economic damages are pain and suffering, emotional distress, the things that are much more difficult to calculate. Once everything is ready, your attorney will draft and send a demand letter to the at-fault driver's insurance company, outlining all the evidence, the negligence, the liability, the damages, and requesting a fair settlement based on the specific facts of your case. Now, this is often the point where the insurance company makes a counteroffer and the settlement negotiation process begins. Throughout this process, both parties are going to work together to try to reach an agreement and avoid the need for a lawsuit and court involvement. It doesn't always work, but in short, if it does, many crash victims will never need to step foot in a courtroom. It's often enough if your lawyer can negotiate with the insurance company to reach a fair settlement based on the specific facts in your case. Now, while many car crashes do settle without the need for litigation, there are situations where a lawsuit is absolutely necessary to recover fair and just compensation for your damages. There are several reasons why a lawsuit may be the best option. First, there's no fair offer. Look, sometimes insurance companies won't offer a fair settlement, especially if they think you or your attorney won't sue. That's when having a good attorney who is not afraid to go to court is crucial. Filing a lawsuit often makes the claim real for the insurance company. It pressures them to know that they have to actually evaluate this claim legitimately, because it may go to trial and expose them to a lot more risk. Another instance where you may have to file a lawsuit is if the insurer disputes your evidence or says, we're denying the claim. They often dispute fault and may claim you share responsibility. Now, under Louisiana's comparative fault laws, even if that's the case, you can still recover, though it may be reduced by your percentage of fault. But many times, if the claim is denied or they're pointing the finger back at you as well, a lawsuit will be required to settle the issue. Another case where we have to file a lawsuit is if your deadline to file is very close. Now here in Louisiana, we have 2 years from the date of crash after July 1st, 2024. If the crash occurred before that date, you only have 1 year. So that 1 year is approaching, you're gonna have to file quickly. After that time, if you start getting close to that 2-year period and you haven't reached a resolution, you have to file a lawsuit, because missing the deadline means losing your right to compensation forever. If settlement talks stall or seem unfair, if you're not getting anywhere, you're gonna have to file a lawsuit to protect your claim. Another reason a lawsuit may be filed is if the case is especially complex. Some wrecks are just legally complex. Many times cases involving commercial trucks or multiple vehicles or multiple insurance policies have a whole host of issues that litigation will need to resolve. For example, under Louisiana law, a commercial truck driver's employer may be liable for your damages as well, not just the truck driver. That adds some layers and complexity to the claim. These cases often require a lawsuit to navigate the complexity and secure fair and just compensation. Now let's clear up one of the biggest misconceptions people have. Just because you file a lawsuit doesn't mean your case is going to go to trial. In fact, most lawsuits never make it to trial. And the reason is, even after a lawsuit is filed, settlement negotiations continue. It's not uncommon for an agreement to be reached before the case reaches the courtroom. In many cases, settlement talks occur throughout the entire lawsuit process, through all stages of litigation. Lawyers from both sides continue to negotiate, and the settlement can be made at any point, allowing both parties to avoid going before a judge and jury and facing the risk and uncertainty that brings. Many lawsuits settle right before trial, sometimes on the day of trial. You may have heard, on the courthouse steps. Once both sides realize the potential costs and risk involved in going to court and understand that the other side may not be afraid of those risks, settlements can sometimes result. While lawsuits can sometimes feel like the only option, the reality is that most car crash cases settle before trial ever happen. A skilled attorney will be able to gauge the best time to negotiate a settlement and when it might be necessary to file a lawsuit or go to trial. In all cases, the goal is to get you the compensation you deserve as quickly as possible. Now, suing after a car crash is not always necessary, but as we discussed, in some situations, it is your best option for getting fair and just compensation for your damages. Whether you're trying to get a fair settlement or you're facing a complex case, understanding when and how to proceed with your lawsuit can help protect your rights. In Louisiana, most car crash claims are resolved without the need for court, but it's essential to have a knowledgeable attorney by your side to ensure that your case is handled properly, whether it's settled out of court or goes to trial. If you or someone you care about has been injured in a crash and you're looking for an experienced attorney who will fight to get you the compensation you deserve, reach out to me and my team today at 504-882-9867. Remember, when you need a win, you gotta give them the L. And if you found this video helpful, hit that subscribe button. Check out this next video.